Alright everyone, just something I came across. I was actually looking for something completely different, and it was just something about John Aldridge in the Telegram group chat one about Tranmere, and I was saying that's the Aldo era, and I was thinking, when did he play for Tranmere? Because I knew he played for the managed, and then there's an article here in the Echo by John Aldridge. So let's listen to our former striker. If you don't remember, he arrived at Liverpool from. Oh, now I'm struggling to remember here because this is going back years for me. Did he arrive from Oxford? And just a bit of a background to Aldo. He arrived from Oxford to replace Ian Rush, who went to Juve. And Juve, his career at Juve wasn't a huge success. The camera's just come off there. And Aldo was doing well at Liverpool, so I think there was claims at the time, I'm assuming more with a bit of humour based, that we'd sent them Aldo, not Rushy. Rushy came back and we still had Aldo. And I remember his... If it's the game I remember watching it. His final game was in the 9-0 against Crystal Palace. He went to Real Sociedad, and then I believe he went to Tranmere. Well, I've got a lot of time for Aldo. He's a legend as far as I'm concerned at the club. I love Aldo. And he's spoken about our attacking options at the club. And our title run into our last 9 games. The title of this here says, I knew about Alexander Isak years ago. Liverpool have lost out. And he was on about our forwards were starved of service. They did themselves no good whatsoever, though. All of them were awful. And he said, again, and he said it's the 4th game running. First half, we didn't get into the 18-yard box, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The way our centre forwards are playing at the moment, it might actually be worth playing Kaiser there against Everton. Do you know what? And I said this on Adam's stream, the AKM, the Fallout thing. It's a good shout because you've got to look at the form of Darwin and Jota. And he's put something here. He said he took his goal well. Would Darwin Núñez or Diego Jota get themselves in that situation and then score it? The way they're playing at the moment, I doubt it. The other forwards just don't look like they've got a goal in them. That's an interesting one because you look at PSG. We scored, yes. We won the first leg, but it was a smash and grab win with a Harvey Elliott goal. And he said we had 4 or 5 really good chances. And then you've got to say, 2 fell to Kwanzaa, who hit the post, and Virgil van Dijk. And Mo got one off the line, but it's just... And then he touches on needing a new striker. And he's interesting here, what he says. And I respect Aldo for his view here, because Aldo was a striker, and he was a really good number 9. He was absolutely fantastic. It says here, it's come out now that Liverpool are looking for a striker. It's obvious, but we're top of the league. Imagine if we have a striker above Mo Salah. He'd be touching the golden boot. Now, Let's put this scenario to you now. Imagine last summer, Slot decided he didn't want Darwin Núñez, he wanted Isak, say. Okay? And we'd had Isak playing the season of his life like Mo is. Imagine the numbers we'd be producing. That title, we would have probably, with Isak in that team, we wouldn't have lost to Forest, I don't think. We would have beaten Arsenal. I think we would have beaten Villa, we would have beaten Everton, we would have beaten Newcastle, we would have beaten Man United. That's 6 games there, right? We've got a 12-point gap with 9 to play, right? Add 5 of those were draws, 1 was a defeat. So add 10 for the would have got for the draws, and then you take a point of Arsenal, so you'd be a 13-point gap. Add 10 for those draws, and add 3. You'd had another 13 points. We could, in theory, be 25 points clear. 24, 25 points clear if we'd had a calibre of Isak up front. Now with 9 games to go, 25 points clear, say. And with a calibre of Isak up front, we're beating Everton on April. 2nd of April, that title could have been sewn up. And that's not assuming, but say with Isak we could have even beaten Fulham. But we did have 10 men. We could have beaten Forest, potentially. We could have had a chance to be champions by now. We could have been champions by mid-March. That is the difference. A calibre striker like that, a top proven finisher like that, does. So let's go back to what Aldo says here. Oh, skip the advert. That's the one thing I hate about the Equity advert. And he's got here, I'm a striker, I lived off goals and love teams scoring goals, so it's really disappointing to me when we don't. That's the difference with Alexander Isak. No, he's been in Liverpool, but he's in Newcastle play. He might not even want to move. And he says that he's a really good finisher, and he watched them at Sociedad and knew back there. I knew when he was at Sociedad how good he was. I knew he was a world-class potential striker. It was evident in his runs, in his link-up play. If you're watching his... how's the best way to describe this for somebody who hasn't played up front? Watch a through ball or ball over the top, right? That usually leads to a goal. Watch the type of run Erling Haaland makes off the ball. Watch the type of run Alexander Isak makes off the ball. Study that run. Go back older. Watch Aldo or Rush at their best. The runs they make to get into space, to take that chance. Watch Darwin Núñez. 9 times out of 10, I'm seeing Darwin Núñez not make the clinical run that he needs to get into position to get that goal. And he says here he thought Liverpool should be interested and hoped they would go in for him. And now he's got an interesting point here. He ended up going to Newcastle and has been exceptional for them. He's an exceptional finisher. There's Mo Salah and Erling Haaland, and he's next one down the list. And I've just named Haaland there. And he's got here, there's no better game than Everton to get back on track against Everton. But it's just interesting, if that article, I'm not going to go through it all, but he's raised some really good points on the striking situation. If we'd had an Erling Haaland or an Isak if we'd had Chris Wood on that form, we would either be pretty much very, very close to the title or had it sewn up by now. That's the difference a top quality striker makes. Now, if this title gets thrown away and Arsenal win it, heaven forbid, it'll be down to two reasons. The lack of investment in January and the summer, not really giving Slot the tools he needs, the players he needs, and the lack of a goal scorer. They are the two key things that would have separated us above the rest. If we'd invested in a striker, invested in, say, a couple of midfielders and a defender, this title, I think, would have been done by now. We are running on fumes, we are running on the bare bones of the squad, and Aldo is pretty much spot on in his assessment of the striking options. And my God, he should know he was a striker. You want to know how good he was? Let's have a look. Right? Newport County, 69 goals in 170 games. This is in the league, so this won't count cups. Oxford United, 72 in 114. 50 in 83 for Liverpool. 33 in 63 for Real Sociedad. 138 for 243 in Tranmere. His career statistics, if we count every competition, 421 goals in 782 games. I think he knows a thing or two about scoring a goal. I really do. And back then, defenders were far more physical. Some of the stuff defenders would do then gets you sent off now. It's a completely different game. They also played more league games then. It was a 42 game season, whereas it's 38 now. Challenge was stronger. I mean, I'll use an example. You watch clips of Leeds, and in particular some of the challenges by David Batty. He gets sent off in today's game far more easily. You look at some of the challenges of, say, Terry Butcher. He gets sent off far more easily. It's a different era, I know. But for a striker, he knows there's how to get into the space to score that goal. Darwin doesn't. If you don't have that knowledge, that quick decision making, and Robbie Fowler said it, I think it was it the Ipswich game? I can't remember, but he said that, what was he said? That he doesn't, his decision making, his process on the pitch when he's going from ball being played to getting in the right place, his decision making a lot of the time isn't fast enough. It doesn't matter what era you come from, if you're a natural goal scorer, you know where to be. So it's my bit of a rant on the striking situation, but I do agree with Aldo. And if anybody thinks he's talking rubbish, look at his record. His record speaks for itself. Alright guys, thank you very much.